going to get a slightly different presentation now, and it's wide and varied, some technical stuff and some very general, and a little bit deep at times for me anyway, personally. As you can see, look, fantastic. So that's the end result. Finished. Thank you. Okay, that's the end result, guys, after about 7 years there now. Okay, it's fantastic. Got the Southern Alps there in the background, Mount Hutt ski field up there. And look, it's just a wonderful place to go down and enjoy. So there I am. If you want to contact me, it's my email. And I've just started with LeaderBrand in Gisborne 1993, so I've been with the company since then, and started as General Manager of LeaderBrand South Island in Canterbury in 2004, so coming up 20 years. Could be due for a little celebration. So I've held various roles within the industry, very industry orientated. I've been Chairman of Vegetables Research Committee, Chairman of Canterbury Growers Association, Asparagus Council, all sorts of things. Currently on the Brassica Crop Advisory Group and Asparagus Council. So LeaderBrand, we farm 400 hectares in Canterbury, growing a range of crops throughout the year, mostly for fresh market, process and arable. So the crops we're growing is broccoli, courgettes, asparagus, barley, wheat, grass seed, a lot of seed crops. So we have a need for pollinators. Our passion, we're driven by empowering our teams. We provide opportunities and support and training and encourage personal development. All this whilst producing safe and healthy food, consistently and always considering the environment. And so, that's us, biodiversity. So, biodiversity, firstly I got involved on a project called Hedging Your Bets. And this is what we did, we studied the hedge lines around Canterbury, and that's your typical traditional headland. You know, the one in the middle there, the bare earth policy, it's just not me. So skipping to the next project, Better Biodiversity, and this is what we're seeing now. And if you go to Lincoln, where they kind of started establishing this, it's really starting to spread out, and it's quite amazing. I suppose it's infectious around those growers in that area. These guys planted this as a part of the project that we were involved with. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So biodiversity, in 2015 we were contacted by Plant and Food, so Brad is here today and Melanie, and we established this block which is around 1/4 of a hectare. So that site's available today for Plant and Food to come and conduct research projects. To begin with, we used a local restoration expert. And you've heard from the other speakers today, and I think that's really important. Okay, get some help, learn the species, get an expert in to help you to begin with. So that was pretty important. The slide, the top slide there, you'll see that's what we started with. It's what we call dry land. There's no irrigation available to it as such. And that was a crop of lucerne, so that was our prep. Getting rid of the lucerne, preparing the land, and you see the bottom slide is the established block now, so that's 8 years later in the background there, and in the foreground, that's the very latest plant that we've just completed this spring, so September this year. So that 0.5 of a hectare or less, and the new planting is around about 3.5 hectares. So total now 4 hectares there in that block. It's just going to look fantastic. So there's a bit of the timeline. So I started off this in September 2015, 2016 getting a little bit of base data from some traps that were put in there. 219, these are Melanie Davidson's words. I looked up an email and she's commented, block looks amazing. So, not very long, and you've got this really neat little spot there starting to happen. 2022 January, so some potted kales and some impact on the native plantings, which you've seen from Brad's work there. And that little insect, that little parasite, Catesia rubicula. Okay, so that's the white butterfly parasitoid. And Brad alluded to it, but I should just extend that they're finding way more of that little parasite in that native planting. A bit of COVID come along, so no more research for a short time, and then putting out some bumblebee traps. So that's an interesting one, talking about that in the early presentations. So the bumblebee lives in the soil, makes a hole in the ground. So that's all happening. November 22, so currently now monitoring the flowering plants. So standing there, looking at the flowers 3 minutes at a time, what bugs are visiting, what's coming and going, and recording that data. This one here, so just on your plant species, there's a good list of plant species for Canterbury. That's from our restoration expert, and basically that's the numbers of plants we went with. So you can see total of all plant groups 2,200 and less than half a hectare. Next slide, talking a little bit about it. That whole project, that whole thing cost $15,000 for a small area. So that was not by us doing everything ourselves. There was getting some contract help in, and buying the plants. We're now buying our plants direct, so you can reduce that cost. Here we all are at work, so that's what we look like. Quite a big job, extremely big job, and I think if you know the earlier speakers, planning, plan, and preparation.
At least someone listened.
Yeah, I can't reiterate that. Be organised, be ready for the next thing. Okay, and that's a fair cost there, those little plant guards and the bamboo sticks and the wool mat. At this stage, it's probably the best deal. There is a patent now on a new plant guard, which we don't need the stakes, and they'll be a lot cheaper. So, in the future, how do we do this? How do we reduce the costs? It works for our team. The team really buys into it. It sometimes helps with utilising your staff. Okay, you've got half a day and you need a bit of extra work done in there, or there's no work around the farm, we can slip into the natives, and that's your typical seedlings that you buy. They're costing you around $2.50 to $3 each. They're about a year old. And here's what I'm saying, be organised. So we chose in this case to widen the width of our rows, our plant spacing, so we could get that little mule down there. Otherwise you're doing that by knapsack. Okay, and the cost of that versus that. And the other one there you see in the top left-hand corner is the irrigation. So whilst I said it's dry land, we went to a lot of effort to get some water there. Without that, your establishment not going to be so good. So our establishment, again, we're getting about 95% take, at least, if you do it right. If you do it wrong, 50%. Some of the little plants we put in, so those were planted in September, and those photos I took about 2 weeks ago now. So that's how quickly they can establish under the right conditions, the right treatment, fertiliser tablets in with each plant, good weed control. You can see the weeds there, just getting a little bit out of hand. Don't leave it later than that. Then it takes you longer and it's slower, then you get the chemical in the wrong place. So your timing, you know, with weeds, as we know, in cropping, it's just so important. Here's your trapping going on. This is your plant and food work. Pretty sad kale, might need a bit of water, Brad. But that was the work, so that was where we found this little parasite on there, Catesia rubicula. Good numbers. The wee bumblebee house next door, and also for other insects. And then here's Melanie Walker currently from Plant and Food doing that work. The other traps I might add that we put in there is the little dock traps to catch the other little mutts, the rats and the ferrets and stoats. So I've had a little bit of success with those. Okay, so that may be something we could embark on next, is our nice predator-free, you know, perhaps we want to see if we can do that over the whole farm, who knows. Here's your little Catesia here. So laying the egg inside the caterpillar, and on the left, and then on the right, you can see the little black dot in the middle of the caterpillar, and it's hatched out. And there we are, laid that cocoon. That little bug will take out 95% of white caterpillars, proven. Okay, it's amazing. That was released at Lincoln University, I'm guessing about 40 years ago, because I was told it moves about 1k per year, and it's at Chertsey, where we are. So I think it's about 40 k's. That's my logic. All right. So yeah, so we have a lot of that on the farm. We found that the other day just in a crop that we're monitoring. No problem. Some flowering plants. Reason I put that up there is that slide there. So plants supportive of beneficial insects. So you can see there cabbage tree, Cordyline australis, Tecoca, 31 species of insects. This is your work, Brad.
I think we've got bigger numbers.
Bigger numbers now, yeah.
Especially lacebark. Lacebark was great.
Yeah, so this is an old slide.
Yeah.
Little Hebe there, 32 species of insects. Right? So some good stuff. There's all your pollinators, I won't go through them. Brad's already done that. You know, there's a big problem with perina moth in Canterbury. Get some ginger blister flies in. How are you going to do that? Up to you. Carbon credits, so I've investigated this. I haven't done it yet, but I intend to apply. And there's a few of the rules and a few of the things I'd know about carbon credits. You must have cover at least 1 hectare in an area, and must contain species that'll get at least 5 metres tall. So we've got some totara in there, kahikatea, cabbage trees of course, beech trees, red beech, black beech. Okay, so we've got that base covered. And 30% of the area needs to cover in, so we can do that easily. That block's already done that, 7 years old. And then you must be 30 metres wide on average. So unfortunately, they're not going to count a hedgerow at the moment. So we've got to work on that, change the rules. So a little interesting fact about that hedging of the bets. Survey done in 1993, 100,000 kilometres of pine tree hedges in Canterbury. Change that to that. So I think it's a business opportunity for me. A little story here. So this is north. This is the Rakawa River. So from home, it's from the farm, it's 15 kilometres in a straight line. right down the middle of the river you've got this island, North Island. It's valued for its indigenous vegetation and flora and fauna. So over here we have this little shrub called Ilaria adenocarpa, extremely rare. I think they counted up maybe 700 plants left only in Canterbury on this island, about 6 plants only. Okay, on this plant comes these actually, by the way, the 2 photos here, this one and this one, is out of our planting. So there's 6 on the island, 700 in Canterbury. We've now got this planted on our farm. So I'm really happy because we're, you know, conserving this thing. On this thing also is this moth, which originally I believed only survived on that plant, but it does survive on a few other species similar. But yeah, likes to survive on there. Don't ask me about the moth, whether it's good or bad or otherwise, but it's a special moth apparently. And you can read about that and find out about yourself. Okay, compliance. So as part of our NZ GAP, if you go through your manual, which I know you'll do, question 4.8 will say that you should be rectifying damaged or deteriorated areas of the property and converting unproductive sites and minimise environmental impact, e.g. IPM practices, and improving the existing inhabitants and increasing biodiversity. Okay, so tick that box, right? So yep, 400 hectares there. Look, what we've noticed is a massive increase in the biodiversity, the bird life. There's all sorts of things there, lizards, skinks. I think in the pond you'll find there's some freshwater mussels even, and fish and all kinds of things, okay? The bird life is amazing. Now, good or bad, don't know. Are they going to, like somebody said, eat the insects, or are they going to eat the barley? Which one? So anyway, look, there's some wee fantails there. My measure of success on this one would be one day if I went there and there were some tui birds or even some keruru. Okay, so when you talk about the corridor, that would be my next mission, would be to get this corridor and get these things here, right? So yeah. Talking about integrated pest management, because that's what we're here for. I've been involved with that, as I said, with the project on brassica IPM. 20 years ago would have started that, and then the lettuce IPM manual. Seriously, we can grow crops without spraying any insecticide, any fungicide. Okay, maybe using the drench helps us, but we can do that easily, several times over. So learn it and practice it and do it. It works. Okay, start at the bottom of this pyramid, end up at the top. Your last resort, chemical control. Start with all those other things first. Okay, we've been fortunate recently, and those people that have missed out on it, too bad, but you should have been on there, and you should have been on the fresh vegetables meetings we've had once a week by Zoom, and it's been some excellent training there. And the people that have run it have been enthused. It's been scientific. I've had 4 of my staff do it with me. We've watched it, we've been involved, we've been engrossed. It's been excellent. And it's something that I've wanted and worked on for getting this back out there, because we did this 20 years ago and we've lost it. And now we're back. Okay? Okay, this little piece here, this wee slide, so the culture, we'll intend to work with our local iwi on this in the future, now that we've got a block established, but there's a little bit of forest mythology there. So in the Maori creation story, Tane separated his parents, Papa Tuanuku, the earth, and Ranganui, the sky, letting light into the world. Trees in the forest are believed to hold apart the earth and the sky. so light can come through. Some plants and trees are seen by Māori as being rich in meaning. For example, te koka, cabbage tree, often grows alone and seen as a symbol of independence. So this photo of that cabbage tree on the right is about 500 metres down the road from me. It's there because it's in the fence line, so it didn't get mowed over. Okay, but when I went there and took that photo, it was quite amazing thinking about the symbol of independence. Okay, and the next one, that's also the flax bushes and the 7-year-old native planting. So the harakiki represents a family, the outside leaves represent the parents, and the inside the children. So some quite important totara trees. I want to tell you about this because the next slide you'll understand why I want to talk about this. So many Māori sayings compared people to plants and trees. The totara tree is a large, strong tree. When important leaders died, they were likened to the great totara that had fallen. So the totara tree meaning symbolises wisdom and respect for elderhood, which has enabled this species to withstand harsh environment conditions across centuries. Advice from a tree, you'll get this when you see the next slide. Stand tall, be proud, go out on a limb, remember your roots, drink plenty of water, be content with your natural beauty, and enjoy me, I think it is. Can't see it. So here we are, with the blessings of one of our staff members who passed away. I'm allowed to put the slide up. So it gave us a special place to plant a tree in remembrance. Okay, so all our staff came down there. The fellows' mum and dad came up and took part in planting that special totara tree there. So it's a place for recreation, remembrance, reflection, research, and this is the wee poem we read out at that, which was plant a tree for me, so the whole world can see, watch it grow and smile. It will take a while, let it grow up big and tall, but even if it's small, it's a reminder of me and for you to be happy. So that was for Vernon. Okay, so summary, I think there may be a couple of slides after this one, and that's all. But in summary, it's a special place that is aesthetic, it's just beautiful, it's just amazing. It's a place for reflection and it's peaceful in there. That was my worker told me that this week, one of my staff members who'd been working down there. He said, Mike, it's so peaceful in there, it's just a place for reflection. So that was why she was doing a fairly rigorous job pulling out gorse and blackberry. So that's what he said about it. It provides biodiversity, somewhere to conserve endangered species, both fauna and flora, so the malaria. Assist with team building and training and apprenticeships. So if you do the ITR apprenticeships, we've got 5 of them currently, people doing it, and we prepare the land, plant a tree, look after it, Okay, so part of one of the apprenticeship modules. Provides a base for research for IPM, so we've talked about that. Great spot for doing all of that work. It's part of our compliance, fits with our program, so we're smoke free, we do recycling, we practice IPM, regenerative farming, and our next move perhaps predator free and solar panels. Okay, so fits with all of that. Acknowledgements, so all of our staff, past and present, and their contribution to the contribution that our LBSI board for their ongoing support, and also all the industry supporters and the funding. So without that, this wouldn't have been possible. Just while I'm doing the acknowledgements, if Michelle's watching online, thank you, Michelle, for helping me put this together. We had a few, wasn't easy. So thanks, Michelle. And finally, as a result of biodiversity, it assists us to keep producing safe and healthy food consistently, and whilst always considering the environment. So that's what we can do. And again, it's pretty special, you know, when you end up in crops like that and a happy team. Many of the men are RSE workers, and they just love coming and working with us, and they keep coming back year after year. I think this one here, so preempt maybe a few questions or even a few of my own questions. Some of it might be repeated a little bit, slightly different way, but is this financially viable? It doesn't make us feel good. Okay, certainly makes us feel good. Absolutely, we love it. Okay, is it financially viable? If you really want to know, I think we probably could put a ring around 100K, okay, at the end of this year to develop those 2 sites. So you can work that out. Okay, 15 grand off that little piece. Done that about 6 times now. Right, so how do we, how do we benefit? How do you measure that? So that's one of the next questions, okay? What is our return on our investment? It's all of those things we've talked about, and they're not just monetary. So figure that out. Can we replace traditional practices, i.e. beehives? So we bring in beehives to pollinate our onion seed crop, $900 a hectare. If you talk to the carrot guy, bees hate carrots, he's $2,000 a hectare. He's got to put more hives in because I don't like going there. But these other speakers said, hang on a moment, there's lots of these little pollinators that actually love carrots. Okay, what I don't know, so ask me this question, next year would I not bring in beehives to pollinate the onions? Simple answer would be no, because I'm not confident yet. Eventually, could we, would we? Okay, so I think that's the work. And you alluded to, Murph, you know, we've got to get that out faster, because I'm running out of time. Yeah, could we reduce establishment costs? Yes. Yeah, we could. We could collect our own seed. We could grow our own plants. I spaced that second lot out further. Okay, so I reduced my tree numbers per hectare, rightly or wrongly, because they're going to take longer to cover in now. So now I'm going to have more weeding and whatever. The question could be, should I double the population? Okay, get them twice as close to fill up a lot quicker. So all of these things, and can we use ground cover in between to suppress the weeds rather than this, what we do now with the sprayer? All right? So this is the way that it's done in Canterbury now. Can we do it better? Yes, I think we can. Okay, but we need to learn how to do that and do little bits at a time. Any other questions I missed there? It's about it, isn't it? What effect will more plantings have? So that would be the next deal, I guess, is what I want to do next is drive around the farm or get the Google Earth map and go, right, bang, 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 bang. Every single place around this farm where there's a waste area that would either mow the grass or spray the weeds, okay, just plant the thing. Just plant it. That's a no-brainer for me. Yep. Just let's go and get all those areas planted up as fast as we can, because that's like Olivia's talk, getting the little ones, you want to call them insectaries now if you want to. Okay, a little hiding place, a little house over there, another one over there and there and there, so these guys can move around and get around the place, right? So yeah, that's an absolute no-brainer for us. Yeah. The next one I think is, you know, getting my neighbour and then get his neighbour, okay, and get these corridors happening, right? And it's what's happened at Lincoln. If you go to Lincoln University and just start driving almost any direction from there, you'll see it's happened. It's kind of contagious, okay? It's happening. We're not to that stage, but I don't think you worry about it. They'll sort themselves out. The big guys will drown out the little guys, and yep, I won't worry about that. It's more that the 5-year stage, you still may have some work in there to keep weeds and that sort of thing under control. Okay, blackberry gorse, just any old weeds anyway at that stage where it's still not completely filled in. And then right now, what we're seeing is a little bit of the seedlings coming up. So now the flax bush has dropped its seeds. Okay, now the other bush has dropped its seeds. So quite a lot of self-sowing stuff coming through.
What you'll find after that sort of 5-year stage, and you talk about at the end, is that sort of coloniser species, your Kanokia, Manuka, your Koromeka, all those types of things, will provide a nursery for those more sort of specimen trees to have a bit of shade, a bit cooler, then they'll pop through that canopy and takes care of itself.
Mm. One of the things we have to really consider is, the cost of it. Like it's 100K. I could go and put that, where else could I put that in the business? So whilst it's nice and it looks great and it sounds good and all the parasites, predators, pollinators, does the global gap, does all these things, it's a substantial, we've got to actually be profitable here, at the end of it all. And that's what I'm saying, how do we quantify it? You can quantify it like that if you want to, all right? That's one way to, that's a starting point anyway. Yeah, you're planting the little native patch of bush. I'm not going to not do 200 sprays next year or 200 hectares or whatever you said. I have to continue with the current practice, okay? We'll be out of business, right? So I'm not going to do that tomorrow. But get things right, learn some more, that would have to be the aim. Absolutely has to be the end game, is that you get to there. If you can do that for me, will you give me an extra 10 cents or 10% for my produce, or 20%? Okay. That's what you have to do. You've got to deliver me that premium, because it's nice to sit there and say that this is, this is what should happen or could happen, okay? But reality is it doesn't happen today. Today, the customer from wherever around the world will come to our property. They love that site. They love what they're doing. They love the smoke-free, the recycling, the training with the people, everything, okay? They don't say, Mike, that's great. Instead of paying you $1, I'm going to pay you $1.20. They say, that's great. Shoot, we need to get it for 80 cents. Okay? So yeah, if you can get that premium, I know that's where we've got to go. Sounds good, but in reality, it's not.
If you don't go.
Pardon? Yeah, if you don't do it, if you don't go. So you can have that argument. Yep. What if we don't?
What if you don't? Okay,
what if we don't? So, I don't have the answers, but yeah, plenty to ponder on. It fits with our values. It fits with our values. So it fits with IPM. I mean, I've been doing IPM for 30 years, okay? And it fits, absolutely, it fits with that. Is it tomorrow going to mean that that planting has done that? Not right now. When I get the 4 hectares up and when we see how many of these beneficials are there and how far they go, and we can plant some more, then yes, potentially. Today, no. But it fits in. This is a little house where the Rebecca can reproduce and build up numbers. And you know, remember what the guys said here, those things are flowering all year round. They got little food for all year round. What they didn't tell you is one of the native plants in its flower has like 20 times more protein in its nectar than most other plants. So what does that mean? You know, the wee bee, huge food source.